Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Flores, and I am giving my analysis on InOddWeTrust. This is written by Dean Koontz along with Queenie Chan and illustrated by Queenie Chan. So FYI, she does both writes and illustrates, which we have learned that is a good thing. This story was created by Dean Koontz, and it was published by Del Rey Books, an imprint of the Random House Publishing Group. It is a genuine graphic novel and has 191 pages. Act 1 is 39 pages long, Act 2 is 110 pages long, and Act 3 is 49 pages long. Act 1 ends on page 39, and Act 2 begins on page 40, and Act 3 begins on page 149. So it is very close to the model, but not exact. I believe that this is Joey's story, and Joey is the ghost in my story. And Joey has been murdered. He's 7 years old. He's a young little kid, and his spirit is reaching out to Odd, and he doesn't want anyone else killed. So I picked that because he's the only one who changes in the story, and his spirit moves on. So he has resolution, and he changed. So that's why I decided it was Joey's story. This story does have an exact beginning, middle, and end. There is a child murder, a child that has been murdered, and a killer's on the loose. They search to find the killer before he strikes again, and then they actually catch the killer. The resolution is very satisfactory and has a great ending because we get to know how crazy Burnshaw is, and he's the killer, and we get to watch him die, even though he thinks he can't die because he made a deal with the devil. So, yeah, it definitely has some good resolution going on. There really isn't any change at all in the characters besides Joey. He gets peace, and his spirit can move on then. In Chapter 1, the hook, there's a bunch of hooks for me in Chapter 1, but we learned that the hook was, we learned that Joey has been murdered, and he was only home alone for a span of 15 minutes when school had to get let out early for something, and the housekeeper didn't get notified, so she was at the store, and there was only a 15-minute span, and that's when he was murdered. On page 10 of this graphic novel, I learned that the location of the story is Pico Mundo, and it is in the California desert. Now, there's a little fun fact here, not about me, but about this book, and Dean Koontz. All his stories have something to do with California. So, just want to share that. There's some humor on page 12, and it's also leading us up to a reveal, but on page 12, the ghost of President Lyndon B. Johnson, he moons the main character, who is Odd Thomas. Odd is his first name, and the ghost of President Lyndon B. Johnson, moons Odd, which was hilarious, and that's on page 12. And then on page 13, the ghost of Elvis Presley rides to work with Odd, and this is all setting us up for page 14's big reveal. Odd sees dead people. So I was shocked because, I saw a little boy reading the newspaper right at the beginning of the story, but I didn't place that was the kid who had been killed until Odd sees dead people, and then I put the two and two together. So, went right over me. Page 15 in Odd We Trust is the first page with dialogue. So it was all like background and a little bit about the stories and characters. Nothing, just no dialogue whatsoever until page 15. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought that was kind of interesting. And I didn't even notice it reading it. But when I went back to find all the things we had to find, then I noticed. Act 1, had it all. It had the hook, the inciting incident, the establishing the situation, the conflict, and major visual action. You know, the visual action from the beginning was, the newspaper saying the boy had been killed. An intruder kills a little boy. That's the headline of the newspaper, and that's how it starts out. It shows the newspaper. And I'm going to show you that scene later on for one of my transitions. So, but anyways, Act 1 had it all. And then Act 2 complicated the situation more when Odd learns his friend Sherry was the real target of the killer Burnshaw. So Sherry's in danger, and that's all in Act 2. And so now it draws Odd in on a personal level, not only help Joey, the spirit that's reaching out to Odd, get resolution, But now he's got to save his friend Sherry because she's getting some weird stuff in the mail. So the killer really wanted Sherry and not Joey, and that comes out in Act 2. And then Act 3 is they go to where Burnshaw is. He has captured Sherry at this point. She's in the trunk of a car, and they're at this abandoned house, and Burnshaw gets shot in 2 separate scenes in Act 3. Once is when Odd's girlfriend Stormy rescues Odd and shoots Burnshaw in the leg. Doesn't kill him, and he gets taken to jail. And then Odd is talking with Burnshaw in the jail, and a guard walks in, and Burnshaw is able to steal the gun from the guard and actually kills or tries to shoot Odd, the main character, but it ricochets off the chair and kills Burnshaw, whom he thinks he made a deal with the devil and can't die, so he dies. So that's in Act 3. And so Act 3 really, had the resolution and, and the graphics and everything that Act 3 needed. It just was amazing. This story definitely pulled me in as the reader. It had great layout, text, pulled me in the right direction, and kept me engaged from beginning to end. I couldn't even be interrupted. I told you at the beginning, I was like, I had to focus, I had to read this graphic novel. I didn't know how long it was going to take me. I was like, no interruptions. And then even if I wanted interrupted, I was not about to be interrupted because that book drew me in, and I read it all in, I sat and read until I was finished. I couldn't put it down. It was great. And I love books like that. And I like Dean Koontz. He's one of my favorite authors. But I had no idea that he had done graphic novels until this class. So it shows me what a fan I am. Anyways, I would definitely recommend this book to everyone. Friends, classmates, and family. I've already told my family and friends about it. A lot of them. So that they've been doing all my classes with me, it seems like. And I've already told people about it. I really recommend it. It had everything that appeals to me as a reader. Mysteries, unsolved crime, ghost stories. I love ghost stories. And I loved Elvis. I grew up watching Elvis when I was 3 years old. And by the way, guys didn't know, my son's taking creative writing here at Full Sail too. He just started. He's in visual thinking and writing. So, I mean, I'm older, so Elvis, and then I like romance. Who doesn't? And so this had everything that appealed to me. So if those things appeal to you, I think if any of those would appeal to you, you may like In Odd We Trust. So for my transitions, and bear with me, you guys, my book is on my phone. So I'm going to try to make this as painless as I can for us. I wish I could turn it on color, but I got it on black and white. The comic is all black and white. This color is an orange color. It's beautiful. And anyways, so my moment to moment, I picked, here's the headline that drew me in Act 1. And it will come in just a second, you guys. Just give me time here. Let's see. Oh, there. Okay. So this is my moment to moment. It required very little closure. This is the first real graphic of the comic book. Darn it, it came. But Joey, come on. If I get out of it, it'll focus. Okay, so there's Joey. There's Joey, up, and then the newspaper, and then the newspaper headline, intruder kills boy 7 home alone, and then Joey down at the bottom. So this was my moment to moment that required very little closure. You get Joey, you get the newspaper, and then my action to action, give me a second here. This is my action that I selected, and it's gun firing, and it just goes bang, pling, bounces off the chair, ricochets, and kills Burnshaw. So this was my action to action. I just think it shows the gun getting fired and hitting the chair, and that's why I selected that one. My subject to subject is a little bit difficult, I think. I picked it because it stays within a scene or an idea. All right, hold on, my phone, of course, when you don't want your phone to mess up, that's when it's going to mess up. Like any electronics. So this was my subject to subject. So it stays within an idea, and it's pretty much, I'm going to get out of the thing so you guys can see her, but she's telling Odd, you know, keep me in the loop, find Joey's ghost, find the killer, but don't become a ghost yourself. And I picked it just because, you know, it stays within the idea of her talking to Odd, the whole story is Odd finding this ghost. So it stays within that idea, and her not wanting him, of course, to become a ghost. But I think it's just her talking. So I thought this was 3 different panels with the same kind of thing that stays within the idea of, hey, Odd, don't get hurt, and do what you need to do. My scene to scene is right here. Just give me a sec. Get the hang of this now. This one I picked, this one was a very good, this is Odd's friend Sherry. She's the one the killer was really after, and he was cutting out these magazines to make letters to her. And they didn't realize it was the killer, but this is across time and space pretty good. You know, she didn't realize she was throwing them away, and so she's rethinking, you know, about these letters that gets through the door. You know, she wasn't paying any attention to these letters. So that's why I picked this one. It's across time and space, and kind of does a flashback there. The aspect to aspect is on page 59. Let me go to page 59 here. And I really liked this one. And if you can see these characters, Odd is standing in panel 2 and in panel 3. And then the non-sequitur is page 79 here. 73. I picked this one, the non-sequitur, and excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, because if you see it's daylight, right? There's Joey, there's Odd in the middle with the black, and then there's Burnshaw, and there's Odd. But this one, with it being dark and being Odd in the middle there between Joey and Burnshaw, the second panel, just struck me as odd. So that's why I picked this one. I didn't think it made logic, but honestly, there wasn't very many of them, and I had a hard time just picking one altogether. So listen, this was a great book. It was perfect for me to choose for myself because I may want to do a graphic novel now. I mean, I was totally into it. And I've learned so much about comics. To be honest, at 18 years old, I joined the Air Force. I spent 20 years in the Air Force. And, you know, I hadn't read a comic probably since my son was little. Before that, high school. And life was very serious for me most of my life. So it's kind of fun to be in this spot where I am now. And how many, you know, I'm not going to say my age, but women my age pick up a comic and read it. I think that I'm going to make my friends do it and have a comic book club. Why not? But a little, just a little fun fact with me is right now I'm in my camper. My husband retired in August and I quit my job. I did retire from the Air Force, but I had a civilian job. And we're traveling, and I hope to do this in my golden years, writing and following up and traveling, getting ideas and locations and seeing neat things. I was in the oldest city in the United States yesterday called, oh goodness, I think it's St. Augustine. It's here in Florida. I'm in Daytona Beach. I think it's St. Augustine. We went there. It's a beautiful place. It reminded me of San Juan. But just a little bit, I'm in the camper. I got some drunk neighbors going on. It's spring break in Florida. I got kids running around the park. I can't even believe my dog hasn't barked while I've been making this video. So I want to thank everybody. I went over my time. I'm really sorry. I'm going to stop it right now because I don't want to have to re-record it. But thanks for listening about In Odd We Trust. Great, great book. And I hope I did him justice and made you guys want to pick it up. Talk to you later.